Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, September 15th, 2025. I hope you all had a good weekend. I know that there's been a lot going on globally. There's been stuff going on with my friends and family, people that I care about a lot. And I know that there's a lot of things that are causing stress and strife and all kinds of um, I don't know how to put it, just problems throughout the world. Here locally, of course, there's stuff going on in other countries where they're ousting their governments and they're burning down buildings and all kinds of stuff. And I just really want to emphasize this before I start tonight. Um, we can all do better, all of us. I really didn't want to step up here and be on this stage right now and say these things, but we can all do better as a society, as people, and it's a shame that there is just so much anger and resentment and conflict that is happening across the globe. And I hope everybody will consider where they're at in their lives and what they're doing and why and how and all those sort of things. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to be up on a stage and, hey, listen to me. I try to be as positive as I can. I try to be to motivate people. I keep my emotions in check. I try to, you watch my videos. I don't use any foul language. I don't stress out. And that's a rational mind. That is my process, how I do things. But there are other people out there who uh, eat eat the anger, and they try to find things to be angry about and to be aggressive about, and eventually we end up having problems with people who aren't as stable as the rest of us. So, everybody's got a battle. Everybody's fighting things in life, and again, I really didn't even anticipate me talking about this, but it's been weighing on me over the last few days. We recently had a good friend of ours whose son took his own life, and dealing with that tragedy, and then of course the other tragedy that we all know is on the public eye, and thinking about all of the stuff that we as a society eat up. I'm not one to watch. I don't watch any of the broadcast channels. I don't subscribe to any of the. I don't need to be fed from every possible angle everything that's going wrong in the world. I want to have positive thoughts, and I want to have positive attitude. And I appreciate everybody being here and participating. Uh, there's there's good things in this life. Every time I visit, I have my grandkids around me and my family. I'm just overjoyed with that fact that life is good. So I didn't want to be up here talking like this, but I wanted to emphasize I have a platform. We all have some sort of platform, and we can all do better. We can all do better. So that's my challenge. Okay, I'm stepping off of that platform. Welcome to the garage. If you are new to my channel, you already know what I do. I work on classic cars, primarily Mustangs. I restore cars. I do everything in the shop pretty much on my own. I do have occasional help from neighbors next door, like Roger. Sometimes I can't do things by myself, and I have help. We all need a helping hand every so often. But I try to do everything in here and show you ways that you can do these things in your home shop. I emphasize I'm a do-it-yourselfer, but I'm not in here with sophisticated tools. I'm not going to extremes and all the stuff you see on TV, all the fake stuff that they show you that they try to get you to watch. I'm not that person. I'm very much a realist, and I want to show you how to do these things. So I know you've been following along. Everybody here is typically following along, but if you're new to my channel and you're just checking in, on these live streams, I tend to talk about classic cars, and that bracket of time is about 1955 to 1980 is what I feel most comfortable with. And for the most part, I'm doing cars like this 68 Mustang. Now, this is a car that I'm basically hand building the whole thing, and it is a 68 fastback, and the playlist is called Fangled. And if you'll notice, there's no front end on it right now because I'm prepping to start assembly on that front section. There's previous videos I have detailed. I think there's actually 10 videos so far on this one, and I go through the process of setting up the floor pan, putting on rocker panels, assembling the wheel houses, installing pieces and parts. And when I left off in the last episode, I had just put on the rain gutters and I had welded on the quarter panels, and now the roof is just sitting up there awaiting to be put in place. But I have to install a roll bar, so I'm not going to put the roof on until I get the roll bar in. I thought about doing that at this point, but I really don't want to. Like, I would much rather get all the front sheet metal done, have all this in place and have it established, and then come back and work on the roll bar, because I need to do some measurements and figure out where it needs to be, in a practical sense. And it's not going to be just a hoop. It's going to have down struts that go to the rear frame rails, and it's not going to be. I don't think it'll be that complicated, but it's not the video that I plan to make right now. So I'm working on this front section. Now, I point out in these videos, and I want to stress this all as much as I possibly can. We, as a group, tend to focus on factory measurements, factory sheet metal, how poorly aftermarket stuff fits, and what you can do to make it fit, or what you need to do to make it look correct. Because sometimes it doesn't really matter where some of these pieces end up, and I'm going to talk about this in the next video. Sometimes these pieces just don't matter. Like, they do matter, but if there's a difference of one of these pieces in a quarter inch or something, as long as the exterior sheet metal ends up in the right spot, I don't get all bent out of shape over something being a little bit off, because these dimensions change. Whenever they were made, they basically followed one set of dimensions. And then over time, whenever the parts were remanufactured or copied or whatever, the copies aren't as good. So there's going to be all kinds of variables. Now, I still try to get them where they should be, and I show everything I do to make that happen. But that's my plans, or those are my plans, and that's how I operate when I'm working on these cars. So I encourage everybody, be involved. You want to leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, share the video, all these things that help the everything go right. I know that I've been having a little more views now on this project, just because it's what a lot of people are interested in. So it's good to have people watching, and I want to encourage everybody to be involved. So if you have a question or you have a comment or whatever, feel free to ask. If I can help you, as I always try to do, I will. If not, I've got people over in the chat box over there that are a great resource as well. So let's begin. We'll see how I usually go about an hour, just so you know. My voice makes it about an hour and then I'm done. But we'll see how we go tonight. So the first one in, Rick Stevenson. Oh, they changed the thing again. They changed the thing again. We went through this last time, or a few weeks back, where they changed this banner thing. Okay, so Rick says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rick. And Rick is my coffee supplier, so I have to get my sip of coffee now. Thanks to Rick. I don't like this balloon thing. That's not what I want, and I don't know how to change it. Steve's Money Pit. Hi there, Rick needs to get a life. Thumbs up for Barry. I think he's referring to Rick checking in at 5:15. So he does have a life. He just likes he likes to check in early. That's great. So glad to hear, Steve. Terry Keithley, good hot evening, everyone in Barry. Please give a thumbs up. Like, thank you kindly, Betty, Terry, and the cats. Hey, Jerry, go Buckeyes. Glad to hear, Terry. Robert checking in. Evening all. Evening, Robert. Hey, Matco, man. Hello, everyone. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. Dave Tyson. First Dave sighting. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. Derek Pro is checking in. He's in land down under in Australia. So I guess he's starting to go into spring at this time of year, I believe, in that area, right? Because we're going in the fall. He should be going into spring. Says, hi, Barry, everyone. Hope all is well. Been a while. Been real busy, but slowly getting Project 65 done. Have to tell you about Bodywork. Oh, okay. That doesn't sound extra promising. And Derek says, missed. Wait a minute. Missed. Don't between done and tell. Okay. That doesn't help much either. Jerry is checking in. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, y'all. From a wonderfully temperate Northeast Ohio. Wish I could say, but gonna run to Biggie's for soft serve ice cream. Robert knows what I'm talking about. Okay. That soft serve ice cream sounds awesome. I don't like this big balloon thing. Really don't. Derek says, hi, Barry. Oh. So, okay, he says, don't have to tell you about Bodywork. That's what he's trying to say. Got it. Okay, thank you, Derek. TJ, hello, Barry and everyone from the field of Mustang Dreams, East Dublin, Georgia. Welcome, TJ. Hey, Matt, come in. What does everyone do to stay motivated? Some days I just go out and look at the car, and then 45 minutes later, nothing is done. That happens, and it's tough to give an easy answer to that. As I've said before, if I'm not doing something, I stress out. I need to be doing something. And it may be that if I'm not working directly on the car, I may be cleaning up or organizing or whatever, but I'm not going to sit still necessarily. Now I will take breaks like here. And I do take breaks every couple hours. I'll sit down and play some chess or backgammon, and but I don't just sit there and keep doing. And a lot of times that gives me time to think as well. Like, I know I have something I'm dealing with on one of these builds, and while I'm playing chess, subconsciously my mind is running through the scenarios and trying to figure out what to do. And maybe chess is a way for me to help resolve that. Problem solving, in a sense. But no, me personally, I need to be doing something. And a lot of times, as I've said before, even when I'm done for the day, I'm still wound up. Like, I have to, a lot of times I go for walks, and just to burn a little more energy so I can sleep better at night, but also it gives me that time to unwind from what I've been doing. Because if I don't stop myself, and this is weird, I know everybody's like, huh? But if I don't stop myself, I'll be out here cranking away till 10 o'clock at night, just because I enjoy what I'm doing. And maybe that's part of it too, is I really do enjoy working on cars. So I don't know if that helps or not, but that's what I do. Derek's has been on and off with other builds on the go. Also, a lot these days, fixing repairs and take so much effort to do wrong. Don't know why they just don't do it right in the first place. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Steve Reed, hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing great and fine work on the 68 Fastback, and everyone needs to give Barry a thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Steve. By all means. Jerry Jerry's Garage, Money Pit. Good evening to all from Middle Tennessee. Hope all is well, Jerry. Haven't had any updates on your project in a while, so I don't know how it's coming along, but I hope it's coming together. Derek is talking to Matco Man. I write down everything, what's done and what needs done, and then small task list. If you get one thing done per day, it's an achievement. 2 bonus points, even small bits. It's a great way to look at that. I think I do all that mostly in a mental checklist. I keep a few notebooks here in front of me. I have notes. One of these, is like full of cars that I do like oil changes on. So I do oil changes for friends. I do my own stuff, and I keep records of what the vehicle is, what filter it takes, what oil it takes, whether it's full synthetic or not. That is one notebook. And then I have another notebook, and this is like, and just give you a quick, this is like for people that are contacting me, or if I have measurements or information that I need. Like here's an example. There's some measurements and drawings for a back window opening, and there's all kinds of things that I do like that. And it's not necessarily to keep me motivated, but it's to keep me in check. Like I know that there's things that I need to take care of or need to work with. Like if somebody contacts me, and I'm not going to show this, but I'll take a note on who they are and what they want and what they're trying to do and what their question is and stuff like that, and try to help them out if I can. But then beyond that, I keep another journal notebook, and that is for what I do every day that I'm working on this car right here. And so at least there I'm not forcing myself. I want to take notes on what I'm doing so that I know what I've accomplished. And if somebody, the owner wants to know, well, hey, what are you working on? Where are you at? I'm doing this. I keep track of my hours, all that sort of thing. And it's just a way to keep me in check. But as far as everything else, I keep kind of a mental notebook. Like I know that when I'm doing X, Y, and Z, I need to consider A, B, and C. So like when I was talking about these rain gutters in the previous video, I wanted to double check and make sure that the trim actually fits on the gutter. Things like that. And I want to show people that. Make sure they understand you have to do these things to make it happen. But, for me it's fairly easy to stay motivated because it's basically all I've done all my whole life. So kind of how I operate. Jiggy, JC, good evening all. Good evening, Jiggy. Nandu, good evening, Barry and everyone. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Likewise, glad you're here. David, the bowler hat guy. Hello all, good evening, Barry. Good evening, sir. Rusty, hello, Barry and all. Making some great progress on Fangled. That's going to be an awesome project. Everyone give Barry a thumbs up. Yes. Thank you for that. Troy Justin, happy Monday from coastal Georgia. It is good to be with you and the gang where we're actually solving problems and making progress. See, it can be done. Yes. Yeah. It can be done. Simone, Hooked on Classics. Hi, Barry. Just a quick hello. Thank you. Welcome, Simone. Checking in from the UK. Derek, 100% Barry. We just want serenity and peace. So it gives us more time to enjoy the simple things and work on our toys. Yeah. Yeah. There's too much, as I mentioned earlier, there's too much going on. Yeah. Dave Conville, good evening all. Dave's checking in from New Jersey. And Simone says, agreed, Barry. Yes, thank you. Gerhard, good evening, Barry and gang. Welcome, sir. Doyle is checking in. Hey, all. Hey, Doyle. Mr. Mikey, good evening, all. 289 heads went to machine shop today. Yahoo. That's a good sign. That sounds like progress. Simone, I recently repaired and repainted my Cortina passenger door. The paint came out rough. Oh, sorry to hear that. there's so many variables when it comes to paint, you know, that's just hard to deal with. You know, there's just so many things that can go wrong. So sorry to hear that. Rich Watley, hi everyone. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. Mark, Black GTX, good evening, everyone. Hello, Barry. Hello, sir. Rich says somebody needs to come up with an E-Pass system that actually has good return to center without tons of caster. Rant over. Okay. That sounds good. Doyle says, love the new chat box at bottom of the screen. Okay, well, for me, it's like really, it kind of takes up most of the screen, so that's why I'm not a fan of it. But I get it. You can read it easier. Denny Alvey, good evening all. Good evening. Whoop, wait a minute. He's repeating himself. Hello from Paducah, Kentucky. Welcome, Denny. Don Thompson. Hello, Barry and all. Freshly returned from a Betsy road trip to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Staying ran great. Only failure, both low beams went out 20 miles of each other on a black, rainy night. Oh, that's not cool. But I'm glad you had a good trip. Yeah, that's weird. Las Cruces, I guess is how you say that. New Mexico. Okay. Gerhard, will the Fangold have any of the old metal left, or is it all new? I need to catch up on the videos. Basically, the only original parts are the rocker panels and the dash. Well, I say that. Rocker panels, dash, doors, hood. Yeah, that's about it. Derek says correct, hay fever season. So yeah, he's down down in Australia, getting ready for spring. Troy Justit, I tried to save my original firewall with all the patches. It's not worth it. The metal goes from 18 gauge to 24 gauge. It's impossible to weld patches to it. Getting a new one. Yeah, probably better off. I would agree. Don's Manufacturing. Sorry, change login. Thank you, Don. I was having a little bit of a brain cramp. Derek says, I know the feeling when we take a break, go back out for a 5-minute job, then 2 hours later, return. Yeah. Doyle, any tips or tricks for hanging doors with new hinges? I can't seem to get the bottom in line with the rocker. I've done videos on that. Now, I know you're dealing with a GM product, and I can't say that I'm overly familiar with the variables of those hinges. First off, are they brand new hinges? Or are they rebuilt hinges, or are they original hinges? So let's narrow that down first before we try to address that problem. So let me know on further down. Jerry, the 66 is making a little progress. I'm ready to weld the front frame rails to the car. I spent far too much time in hospital to my liking, and it impacts work on the car. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Jerry. I understand. But I do hope you can get it together so you can drive this thing. Steve's Money Pit. Keep going if your body lets you and you're enjoying it. Unfortunately, my body won't keep going as in the past. My mind doesn't stop, and it frustrates me. Yeah, one day that'll be the problem. One day. I mean, I have my aches and pains and problems, and but I'd still rather be in the garage. David, do you keep a notebook for each car, like one for Jade, one for the Cobra Jet, etc.? I did not keep a notebook specifically for Jade, like as far as what I had done. Now, I had done, I have this little calendar that I had started on the Cobra Jet, and that one morphed into a bigger one. And what that allowed me to do, I Well, actually, I think this was the first one, but it allowed me to track what I was doing, conversations that I had and that sort of thing. And I don't normally do this in a sense, but I started doing this for Charles. He wanted to know what I was doing and when it was happening and that sort of thing. So that was why I started sort of journaling this stuff. Now, there's not a huge amount of detail. It'll just be basically like here on this car, welded rain gutters on welded driver's side quarter panel. So it's just a snippet of information, but that's really all that's needed. It's not like it's a big, story that I'm telling. The story is the video, of course. But yeah, I never kept anything on Jade. The only thing I kept on Jade was receipts. That's really the only thing. But yeah, that's about it. Dave Britton says, "Hey everyone, hello Dave, checking in from the Great White North." Derek, exactly. And as we get older, it's easy to remember to read the notes, as our heads are full of the 300 other things that we want to do today. Yeah. There's always something. David, sorry, you answered it right after I typed it. Yeah, okay. Well, that's okay. I'm just catching up on the flow here, and I can't see everything all at the same time. I have to scroll through the comments to get there, so that's okay. Rick Gaines, sorry I'm late, not feeling well today, but looking forward to the rest of this. Well, I'm glad you checked in, Rick. Derek Pro's talking to Simone, as another guy says, don't overthink it. It's just paint, rub it down, and do it again. Believe me, done that many times. Yep. Blue Healer. Okay, I don't know when you've been here last, but I think it's been a while. I think I'm familiar. I remember the name, but I don't remember exactly when you were here before. May have been recent. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Says, hi Barry, greetings from the Texas Hill Country. I actually like the larger comments graphics. Maybe Derek Pro can recognize the car in my picture. Maybe. I'll give him a chance to look at it. I can't. It doesn't get it's not on a huge screen for me. It has 4 headlights. That's about all I can say. Doyle, new replacement hinges from Original Parts Group. Okay, now we can talk about fitment of those doors. What I've run into in many occasions is the replacement door hinges, new door hinges. They just don't have the holes in the right spot. I've run into it on many of the Mustang hinges, even some other vehicles that I've done. And you could probably pull that hinge off and compare it to your original and look at where the holes are. So a lot of times you can't move it simply because you're out of room. There's nowhere for it to go. And I've shown this on, I know the light blue Mustang that I did years ago. I ended up actually taking a rotary file, we call them rotary files, a burr, and opening up that hole. Now you have to think about which way do you want it to go. So if your hinge is on the body and you have holes and you need to move the door in, then you need to make those holes inboard, right? So just think about it, look at it, and go, okay, well, this needs to go that way. And what you can do a lot of times is you can take one of those bolts out and you can look and see the threads. And if you're up against the inside of that bolt hole, there you go. You can't go any further than what that hinge will limit you to. So I've taken many of those and just burred out, oblong the hole a little bit, and allows that door to tuck in, and that's all you got to do. So have a look at those first and see what you have going on. Let's see. Derek says, yes, I do. The Mighty XY. And yes, sir, 1971 Ute. Derek loved it, worked on many, and built a couple of the Utes also. Okay. Yeah, Ute. That's what Joe Pesci says in My Cousin Vinny, right? The Utes. These two. His heavy New York accent. Anyway, I think we've got a good turnout. Let me see. We've got 50 showing up. I'm gonna do an invite, just because we want to see what's going on in another part of the world. So I'm gonna send an invite out to Robert and let him join us on the live stream so we can see what he's up to. You'll notice also in the shop, you may notice, aside from the whole front end of the car being gone, is that over there. Now, I've been wanting one of these for quite some time, and that is an air dryer from Harbor Freight. I noticed I've tried to eliminate as much moisture as I can out of my airlines, and I'm running stuff, and I hook up the hose, and I have vapor coming out of the hose, like, or hook up something, and it's pushing water out. And I think obviously, this, I have that big 80-gallon air tank. The humidity is high in Georgia, and so it just collects water. Even though I drain that big air tank every time I use it, and I also I've got a little water separator right there on the wall. I've been separating water there. I was still getting water out of my other air hoses, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna take a chance with this any longer, having problems. So I put that in. I installed that thing. I have to fine tune it. And what I mean is it makes some noise. It has a little vibration. The metal panels are screwed on the sides, but there's nothing to stop the vibration. So it'll make a little bit of noise, and I need to address that. But otherwise, I kind of cheated a little bit. You can't really tell from the imagery, but the drawing that this compressor, what they use for it, they want you to hook up. See if I can find a picture. A compressor. Go from your compressor and have a center bypass. So you have an inlet from your compressor that goes into the air dryer, goes through the air dryer, and then goes back out. And they want you to have this bypass in case something happens. So what I ended up doing, because I'm not putting in hard lines, I just did regular air hose fittings. So if I need to bypass it, I can just plug back into my regular water filter and be done with it. So and right now it seems like it's doing what it's supposed to do. It seems that way. I guess I'll find out later on when I'm doing some other things. Blue Healer says Falcon Ute equals Ranchero. Yep. Intimidator Kid, I use a truck condenser, works great with a fan attached to it. Okay, we may have to talk about that. I know Robert's ready to come on my live stream, and we were discussing that, how you could build one. Troy Justin, I got a water separator. Oh, let me give Intimidator Kid a bell for being here. Troy Justin, I got a water separator also, but I still end up with water also. I may get a dryer if yours works well for you. Okay. All right. Let's bring Robert onto the stage.
Hey, how's it going? It's a little strange because you're on a big TV up here, and
okay,
the camera has to. It's just the way it's going to work.
Yeah, you're a little further away, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. But if I move, there's nothing between me and where the camera is to make that work, and then I got to look up, and But hey, at least you're not looking at the lights.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me.
Well, they did add a bunch of stuff to this.
What?
They did. The StreamYard has a whole bunch of new stuff on here.
Yeah, I can only see what's shown on the screen. So, Derek says, fit airlines go high up or up high, then have tails with drain outlets. This helps purge any moisture. Would that work? I have tried similar, and not really, because it's so humid here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
it's a losing battle. Gerhard, how much did you pay for the air dryer? That's a good question. I think the list price is $670 something from Harbor Freight, but I got the 20% discount because I'm a Harbor Freight member. So keep that in mind if you're looking at getting one. It knocks off $160 or whatever. So, yeah, that's all I can say.
Speaking of air stuff, right? It's either there or that bag over. I think it's that bag over there. If you got a Menards near you, they got hoses on sale for like $10 a roll.
Oh, like what kind of hoses?
Well, they got one of the small, like they got a quarter-inch one that's a really flexible one if you need, nailers and stuff.
Oh, like
They
an
get some
air hoses. What
air
you're talking
hoses.
about. Okay.
Yeah, and then they got some like 3/8 ones. It's like, was it 20 or 25 foot or 15s and 25s, depending on which one you get, with a bunch of attachments and stuff. It's like $10 worth it for the fittings.
Okay. Jerry's just wait that he put the laptop back together.
No, it is. You can't see it, but it's over there.
Derek says hi to Robert, looking well.
Yeah, well, everything else is not going well. So,
Well, let me just ask. I'll just ask because everyone will want to know. Are you making any progress on the Mustang?
nothing.
Which I know you have other things going on. You got family stuff going on.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Both parents are having issues, and one of them is I can see where she's at right over here.
Yeah.
And then Dad's going to have stuff next week, and we had to cancel our vacation, and you name it, everything in the world is going wrong right now. So,
Well,
yeah.
maybe not everything.
Well,
it can always be worse.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. And
I've had no ambition to work on it.
yeah,
And it's just, I've moved it out of the way, and I've worked around it doing other stuff, but yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Now, no, you were asking about that air dryer. We'd messaged a little bit. Somebody had mentioned he made one out of a truck condenser.
And I've seen that done. There are some people they can do like a bunch of copper tubing, and for copper tubing cost, you might as well buy that air dryer. But
That's true.
the condenser thing's not a bad idea. Run it through there. If you have cool enough air to run over top of it to get to cool it and to get the moisture out of it, and that works. And I've seen guys actually take a 55-gallon drum and then just run a coiled hose at the bottom of it and just run it through there, and then you've got to kind of stagger it to where the outlet's at the bottom. It comes up and over, and then it'll have to go into a like the thing that mounts on the wall, like your blue filter, because you're going to have moisture come out of that. Liquid moisture at that point that you've got to get rid of.
Well, see, my understanding of how this operates, again, I'm no refrigerator whatever guy, but this has a separate hose, like a drain hose.
Yeah.
So my impression is that it's supposed to siphon off the moisture and push it out of that little hose somehow.
Yeah, without tearing it apart, I've never looked at one to see what they're actually doing in there. If they're running, obviously you're running the air through some sort of heat exchanger between the,
Right.
the cold coil and the air. So you run it through some kind of heat exchanger there. And I'm assuming that what they would do is have like a time switch. So at the bottom, so you've got a heat exchanger that's this big. So, water collects at the bottom, and every so often it opens that valve and drains it. Every so
Well,
often.
it shows this picture here, which is a this little thing, which I'm assuming is the water relief.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that looks like one of those kind of standard auto manual.
The auto thing.
Type of thing.
Of course, I'm not one to really read instructions very much, but it talks about cleaning it and cleaning the fins and all that sort of thing, trying to keep it operating. So
Yeah. But the other thing you have to remember on yours is, even now you've got it running, well, you still got to get you've got, moisture that's deposited in the lines downstream of it already. So you're still going to have some residual moisture in those lines that is going to have to work its way out,
Yeah.
down the line as well.
Yeah.
Because, I've got mine, I've just got PEX as a big loop and then crossover. And I know I've got a spot over here in the corner that dips down. So any liquid water will work its way to that, and then it can be just drained out from over there.
Hold on a second. Rich says, does your air compressor have an after cooler between the pump and tank?
No, and that does make a big difference.
You'll strip most of your water right there. Run a derailed trans cooler.
Yep.
And fan setup of mine, it pulls a ton of water. No, it does not.
Yeah,
Regular
that's something I need to do that too. And basically what he's saying is, so the outlet off of the pump would go to basically a transmission cooler that you mount in front of the fan that's on the unit itself, and then from there into the tank. And that gives, because you're starting off with really hot air at that point, you've got a bigger difference between that temperature in there and the air you're blowing over it. So it's easier to pull moisture out at that point than it is further down the line. You don't have to get quite as cold.
Okay. Jerry is saying something about the Buckeyes, something kicking a ball, or I don't know.
I don't know. She went and had not frozen yogurt.
Ice cream.
It's not ice cream. It's
soft serve.
It's not even soft serve. It's soft serve, but it is the stuff with the eggs in it. What's that? Whatever it is. But they put different. They take it and then they get whatever flavor you want, and they put it through this thing, put this extra flavor through it, and it's really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
So Matco Man saying, what type of airlines are you running in the shop? I'm running that
Max line.
PEX line, whatever it is.
Yeah, Max line that you're running, I think.
Max line, is that what it is? Hold on a second. I have a piece of it. I don't know if I guess it's considered, I don't know if it's considered 3/4 or 1/2 inch. I don't know. Some of this stuff. And it's got a Teflon inner liner, and then it's an aluminum shell with a blue sleeve around it. And I put this in, I don't know, a couple months ago. And I really do like it. I mean, it was easy to hook up. I did have some leaks. I had to go back and tighten everything up, which is fine. So I recommend, if you do put something like this in, and you should be doing this anyway, make sure you shut off your air. I shut mine off every night. Like, I shut off the valve, no air goes into my shop, because I've had an instance where one of these lines came loose enough that it was just running. It was just pushing air out, and I didn't know it. And I come out, my compressor was like smoking hot. And I thought, oh, that's not good. So I even have a note on my wall next to my light switch, is the air off? So when I walk out, I make sure I turn my air off.
There's a video about how to put a relay in, so when you turn your lights off, the compressor goes off.
I'm pretty lazy, though. I can just go.
Of course, you can also add to that. If you want to spend about $30, you can add a solenoid onto your compressor. So when you turn the lights off, not only does it turn your compressor off, but it turns the valve off. So it shuts air, isolates the compressor from the lines as well.
Yeah.
So that way you don't lose what you have overnight.
Yeah, I'm pretty lazy. Like, as far as that goes, I can just flip a valve, walk away, be done. Dawn, for painting Betsy, I put my moisture separator in a cold bucket of water. Worked good. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be, I know you probably have a high humidity out in Seattle as well, I assume.
Yeah, you would.
But, man, it is just so much here that I can drain this tank every day. I can drain the inline filter every day, and I'm still getting stuff out of it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get one of these things and hope that it works. So.
Yeah, the one thing that saves me is that my compressor's still in here. So if it's running, it's pulling dry air from in here to start with.
Yeah.
Right now it's down to a whopping 81 degrees, because we're still in the mid 90s here.
Yeah.
But down to 29% humidity, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's comfortable. I like anything below 40, I'm happy.
Well, I could not sacrifice the space of having that huge air compressor in here, and it would be loud in here. So
yeah. I know. I have to put concrete out there in order to put mine outside.
Yeah. Rich, I'm in California, and it's 38% humidity here. My aftercooler easily pulls 16 ounces of water out on a Saturday working in a shop. I believe it. Michael Pagliarini, welcome. My upright air compressor has a intercooler built in. Oh boy, does that thing take out water out of the line. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have got a different compressor when I bought a new one, but I didn't really think about it. My fault.
Well, you got a pretty good deal on that too, if I remember
Well,
right.
I did. Yeah, I did. And Jerry said mom came
Oh,
with me too.
wow.
Okay. And David's saying custard is the word
Yeah,
we're looking for.
that's the word I was looking for.
So Jerry says, yeah, custard. 67 Mustang Resto, add an auto drain on bottom tank. They're pretty inexpensive but effective. Also, add about 50 feet of rolled up air hose between the tank and dryer. It helped my old system pull more moisture out. That's not a bad idea.
I've had I've tried a couple auto drains and none of them have lasted for me. I've had them just stick open and stuff like that. So I went to just a regular valve on mine.
Well,
But
I know for my instance, I have a hose with a ball valve on it that I drain, but I don't turn the air compressor off. I just shut the air off. The air stays in the tank. I don't down drain that tank. I'd rather leave it under pressure the whole time. So I don't, I understand. I've used those.
yeah,
We had those at our body shop, but I probably won't use one of those. I don't know. I like to have the air ready to go every morning.
well, and yeah, and then I know people that'll that's think, oh, I need to drain the compressor as soon as I'm done with it. No, you want it under pressure. You want to leave it there. You want
Right.
it, ideally it stay under say 100 or 120 psi
Yeah.
for its whole life, because when you pressure cycle it up and down, up and down, up and down, that
That can be,
creates the wear of the tank, just like an
yeah.
airplane.
Cherry says, Barry, I can send Robert out to install the shutoff for the compressor if you like.
Yeah, well, I don't know when it's going to be at this point because
Yeah,
I can't go anywhere. So
that's all right. I can do what I'm getting by with what I have.
yeah, one of these days I'll just set that up for you.
Steve's Money Pit. I don't know the Harbor Freight. I don't know the Harbor Freight dryer, but we used line dryer in our spray systems. In printing industry, Hankinson and Arrow compressor airlines was coiled with refrigerant line with insulation. Okay. Okay.
Well, and you can also get the desiccant dryers as well, but they can't really hold that much moisture. The
That's like your
desiccant,
last
it's the
step.
last. Yep,
That's yeah.
it's just a little extra insurance at the very end.
Rick Stevenson, I was fortunate when I got my new to me compressor. I got it for free in
Nice.
I guess 1999. Those are the best kind. 67 Mustang, the auto drain we use at work just burps the system, not drain the tank completely. Oh, well,
Yeah, if that's yeah, because the one I had was one like that it had a line that you ran off of the sense line, the little tube that goes to the pressure switch, and it went down to that. So like every time it would shut off, it would, it would do it. But I'm using the cheap one, so that's why they failed.
okay. Well, yeah.
You know,
Thank you for that, Resto. Steve, at exit, it just went through a separator with float operation. We removed floats in, put solenoid, which dumped for desired seconds every 3 minutes. Float would stick. Oh, okay, so you replace the float with solenoids. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
hmm
So, Robert, I know you've shown us what you've done on a car before,
uh-huh.
and of course I've forgotten more than I remember.
So have I.
So you're going back with a stock 289 in that car, or are you building something?
I'm probably going to, and I've kind of looked at this for. I've probably just end up actually buying an Explorer or the whatever the Mercury version is. I can't remember.
Okay.
Of a couple of years there,
Mountaineer.
and because the engine, the transmission, the rear end, and even the drive shaft out of some of them are just is a perfect donor vehicle.
Okay.
And I'll probably just take the engine. I'll take it out, clean it up, do whatever it needs. I'm not planning on doing anything really fancy with it. If it runs good and it doesn't burn too much oil, and that maybe swap the cam out, just call it good.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well, that
have to
makes
be
sense.
anything special. It really doesn't.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
so that's kind of my plan on that.
Okay.
And yeah,
And
yeah,
are you,
want to get around to it.
now you're putting in a regular, like a 3-speed automatic, or are you going to do an
Well,
overdrive
it'll be
if
what
it has a?
the overdrive out of the same one
Okay.
out of the Explorer. So it'll be
Yeah.
the same transmission, just the whole drivetrain just basically goes right
That's
in there.
that's a good approach. I like it.
Yeah, and every once in a while I'll kind of look and so every so often I'll find a pretty decent deal on a used one, and it's like I don't care what it looks like, I care what it drives like. Because
Yeah.
then I can drive it, I can check it out, and then it's like obviously usually if it looks better, it is better. You know, but I've every once in a while I've run across a few of them, and I was like, oh man, that was really nice, and it was like it was just too far away, and it was the right price, and but at least that I can drive it, I can see how it drives, I can check the engine, I can check the transmission, I check all that stuff before I buy it, and then at
Yeah.
that point, okay, and then I'll get it, gut it, and I don't know, maybe just drive it to a junkyard, say, hey,
Take
this
it
is
apart.
I'm going to take out what I want. You just tell me what you want, what you'll give me for the rest of it. Or if you just take the rest of it, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you know,
it's as we talk about this, a friend of mine has a 90 something two-door Explorer that he wants me. He's like, "Do you want this thing? I want to quit driving it and just give it to you." Right? But it has like 300,000 miles on it or something, and it's currently leaking oil. Like if he has to put oil in it to drive it, it's
oh,
not burning it; it's just leaking it, like it rear main seal or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a two-door, and I think it's got the right rear end in it and everything. But I'm like, but I don't think it has a 302 in it. I think it has
The 6 cylinder,
the 6 cylinder.
whatever that is, I don't know.
Yeah, 4.0 or something.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
the 2 door, has a funny name, doesn't it?
Oh,
Um,
I don't know.
but there's the one, what is it called? The Sport Track, or there's something.
Yeah.
That one actually does have a different rear end.
Okay.
It does have a different rear end. Somebody's going to remember all that. I don't remember right now, but it's the one there's kind of the oddbally one that has a different rear suspension on it.
Okay.
And I want to say they like got independent suspension before the others or something. I don't
Okay.
remember.
David Wright, Right Guy Garage on Fango. Why use 30 thousandths wire? I can. I guess, for lack of a better explanation, I had 30 thousandths wire, and when I got this welder, they had sent me samples, flux core, and 30 thousandths, 1 pound of 30 thousandths wire. And so when I did a demonstration on it, it had 30 thousandths wire in it. Now, you can, I mean, there's value in using the smaller diameter wire, the 023 or 024, 025, whatever the numbers are. But for me, I was very comfortable with the 30 thousandths, and it doesn't really make much difference. Now, if I was doing a sheet metal, like patching pieces together, I would go with the smaller wire because it takes less energy, less heat, less chance of warpage. With the 30 thousandths, when I'm doing these plug welds, like I might swap out when I do the plug welds on the rest of the A pillar or B pillar where the quarter meets. I may go with a lighter gauge of wire because the holes are smaller as well. But it's really comes down to preference. I know people that have used 30 thousandths on every single thing that they've ever worked on. I'm comfortable with either one, and so I just ran with it until I actually ran that out. I ran that spool gone, and I went to the big 10-pound spool from Harbor Freight. So
Well, there's also another aspect of that. When you use the 30 thousandths wire and you're feeding that in there, it's a little bigger wire. So when you play with your heat settings, you're pushing a little more wire in there, which actually has a slight cooling effect on the weld if you get your speeds right, that overcomes any extra heat that you've had to put in. So you kind of get this, you can do the same benefit there with the 30 that you would with the thinner and get the same effect in.
yeah, Jerry's saying someday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Explorer. Steve said he installed a solenoid and a timer.
that'd work.
Derek Pro, have to go, guys. Nice seeing and chatting. Stay well, everyone, and keep smiling. Yes. Glad to hear, Derek. Michael Pagliarini says it's a sports track.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
So that'll work.
I'm not up to date on all that stuff. So
Yeah. Don, small wire helped with Betsy's rust-pitted body panels. And that is another point. It depends on what you're welding as well. Now, if I was doing a modern vehicle, like a Honda or Toyota or something like that, I probably wouldn't go near it with the 30 thousandths wire because it's thinner metal and it'll just burn it off. It'll just, right? This stuff that they're producing is as thick or maybe even a little thicker than the original metal that was in this car. And so, like I was picking up the fenders earlier today, moving them around, doing some test fittings, and I could feel that those new fenders are a bit heavier than what would be the original or old aftermarket fenders. So keep that in mind as well. Whenever you're welding something, it's can the metal handle it, right? And then it may be part of experience. Like I've welded miles of wire out of MIG guns, and so I have my own style, my own technique. I have a feel for what I'm seeing and what I need to do trigger wise to control what I want it to do. And this is again experience. Whenever you're doing this for years, you become connected with that machine and the process, whether you like it or not. I've even done welds on occasion just because I had to, where I didn't have my hood on, and I know where I'm at, and I close my eye and I sit there and just, and it comes out nice because I've just done it so many times. So experience plays a big part in that too.
And then sometimes you have those days where the welder just decides, I'm not going to work right today. I'm going to do weird things and be intermittent. And you run into those days and it's like, it's working great. It's working great. And all of a sudden, what happened? It'll burn through. It won't melt. It's like, okay, something changed and I didn't do anything, but the welder's just doing weird things today. And that does happen.
Well, and that's another point that I'll emphasize with these modern type of welders. So, I have a yes welder and I have an arc captain and I have another yes welder, another yes welder. I have like 5 yes welder systems. These have a ground connection that is a tanged post, meaning it's got a little nub sticking out of it, and you put it in and you turn it and it's supposed to lock. It is not a tight friction lock. It is just a gentle kind of lock. And I emphasized this when I did the previous video on the yes welder. I actually twisted that thing backwards and put a load on the cable, so when it went in that slot, it was forced to stay in that position. I've had instances even with these newer ones that I've used where I've been welding and I moved the cart, and that ground has just turned a little bit and I didn't notice it, and then I'm like, what's going on here? I'm not getting, something's wrong.
I've run into that because mine has those too. They're called DINS connectors, and I've had a trouble with those. And I've got some that there's a difference in the tolerance of how those things are, the diameter and how far the prong is up and where it is. And one of them is just like it just fits beautifully. You put it in there, it has a nice little snug. Other one, not so much. And there is some variance in the quality of those connectors. That's what you run into.
But like the old Lincolns and that wire is part of the machine. The ground is not. You'd have to cut it off to get it off the machine.
Yeah, or you had some of those where you had to plug in. It was just a taper thing you stuck in there on, like the old used to have a big red box one that had that, and you kind of plugged everything where you wanted. You could even do.
Oh yeah. It had like a push. You pushed it in, and it kind of like locked into the.
It was just friction. It was just,
okay.
it was just, it was a taper thing. So when it went in there,
okay.
you push it in, you get a little twist, and it wasn't coming out.
Okay.
It didn't fall out.
Mr. Mikey, that's when you earn hole filling 101, Robert. Yeah.
Yep. It's just one of those days where nothing goes right, and you're just chasing. You'll be chasing holes sometimes, and that's just the way it is.
Don says, with my welder, it was poor connection at the tip, caused plasma blown holes when the arc started at the tip, not the wire. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen on occasion, and I know that I've had to be careful to not get the tip up against the metal because it will arc, like that. I've also had the same situation as you mentioned, plasma. I've had similar problems with the plasma cutter because it would operate and operate and operate. But one thing we forget about with the plasma cutters, we know they're a magic tool, right? They are fantastic at dissecting parts. But we fail to recognize that it's a consumable. So the tip in that plasma cutter, and I made a big mistake. My first one I had was some Harbor Freight. That machine was heavy. I mean, it was a bulky, heavy machine. And it worked great until it didn't. Now, it wasn't the machine's fault. It was my fault. Because the tip, I didn't even think about it, is you're burning through, you're consuming that tip in the process. And I took that thing back to Harbor Freight and got a new one. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm a dummy.
Yeah,
But they took it back,
And there's something special in the tip, and I don't remember what it is. Somebody's going to come up with it, but there's something special that's in there that I just don't remember what it is.
like iridium or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's,
But it's meant to be consumed because it has to be.
Yeah.
But we have to keep in mind whenever doing this, at some point, it's not going to work anymore. Take it apart, put a new tip in there. I've had to fight with them a few times. And with the plasma cutter in particular, you have to have a really good ground.
Yeah.
If you have an intermittent or barely contact ground, you're
and
shooting yourself in the foot.
even with MIG welding, I run into a lot of trouble. It's like, why is this doing weird things? Like, let me go mess with the ground a little bit. And it seems to be, the MIG welders seem to be a little more sensitive to ground being really good than some other kinds of welders.
Matco man, you're right on the welders. I got a new one, and I find myself getting the old one out to finish the job. I have had to do that on occasion, but I'll say that I have a Lincoln. No, not a, yeah, Lincoln. Yeah, Lincoln 140T is my normal welder that I've used for years and years and years and years, and it's fantastic. 2 knobs. That's it, right? And I can tune that thing and do whatever I want with it. Well, then I started getting into product placement, right? So Yes Welder contacted me and said, hey, we want to send you this, and you make a video. Like, oh, fine, whatever. So Yes Welder has sent me multiple machines over the years, and every time they get better and better and better and better and better. So I'm not kidding, I have right now 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 Yes Welder machines, and they've actually sent me 6, but I have 5. And I have a plasma cutter from Yes Welder. I have a plasma cutter from Arc Captain, and I have the Arc Captain 200. And they all work. They all do. It just takes, you have to learn how to use them. But this current Yes Welder is probably the best one they've got, in my opinion, right now.
Now I'm not caught up on all your videos lately because I time and just haven't didn't feel like watching it right now.
I get it, yeah.
But that welder, I remember when you were first using it, I'm watching it, it's like, I like that one. I like that machine. There's a lot about it I like. And, mine is it's an inverter, but it's, a very basic one. And I would like to get one of those newer styles like yours. I do have kind of some stuff lying around back over here that I'm going to build a new welding cart, a much larger one. I want to be able to put a couple machines on. Yeah. And I have this idea. I wanted to do a built-in fume extractor on the cart as well.
Put a what?
The fume extractor. You can see those big fume extractors with the big arm thing.
Yeah.
I've got this plan that I've been working on in my head on how to do a welding cart with a built-in fume extractor and the filters and all that on the cart, So you wherever you roll it, then you can just pull that thing down, and it sucks it up and it runs it through a filter. And it's something I've kind of been toying with, and going over your mind, just iterating different designs for it. And the cool thing is, it's actually the plan is to make it partially out of car parts.
Okay.
My neighbor gave me, he's big in Miatas, and hang on a second, let me grab it real quick.
Okay. So Matco Man says, I finally had to take my old welder to the storage unit so that I would learn on the new one. Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And
right. So he gave me a couple of these things, and these are from the underneath of a Miata.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there thinking, I've got a couple of these. It's like, okay, that's a shelf. That's a shelf. That's a shelf. I've got a couple of them. I've got 3 of them. And I could, and then I got to figure out what other car parts can I use to go between, like try to make it as much out of car parts.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. And then, like I said, I've got my plan I'm working on for putting in the fume extractor onto that as well, which, so like you're working in an enclosed building, you don't want to vent, you don't want to smell it, and be a lot safer.
No, I like to smell it. It makes me think of steak.
You and I have different ideas of what steak smells like.
I commented on one of the videos that when I was burning welds together, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but every time I smell this, I want to have a steak.
And every time I burn myself, I think bacon.
Okay. So Terry says, Robert says, Terry here, Expedition rear with disc brakes, 89 5.0 with AOD trans, package $400.
Not a bad
West
deal.
Central Illinois.
That's not a bad deal. Oh, speaking of north and up north and.
Oh, you got a gob
Yeah, I got a few of them.
from Sheets.
Yeah, I got a few of them. I
Yeah.
wanted frozen ones.
Yeah. Nothing
I
wrong
went
with
up to I got a short little story here. Go up to the counter, and I asked the girl, say, hey, do you have any that are still in the freezer? Because I would like to have frozen ones. And I kind of get a blank stare out of her, and all I get is oh, we make sure we have fresh ones out every day. It's like, I understand that, but I'm taking them with me. If you have frozen ones, I would be perfectly fine with frozen ones out of the freezer, so I don't have to take the ones from here that are already thawed out.
it. Right.
And it just, that blank look. And it's like, at that point, it's just like, okay, here, I'll just grab those. I'll just get the ones that are there. And I was like, well, I was thinking, the root beer was empty in the dispenser too. But it's like, I'm not even going to go there. But I got a couple of them. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. I got to get the peanut butter ones. Those are the ones I like. So.
That's the only ones I had with these were the chocolate, the chocolate chocolate bun with the peanut butter inside. They have the cream ones, but I don't like those.
Yeah, peanut butter's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry says, yeah, she was not going to move from the cash register.
No, and I would have had a better conversation with the self-checkout machine.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think here what else I needed to mention tonight, and I'm running dry. So I'm thinking that I'm probably going to call it a night here in just a minute.
Yep, and this is not the most comfortable spot in the world, but
however,
you are nice and big, and the picture is way better than my computer monitor is on this. Yeah, it's a 55-inch TV, so that's why I'm looking around all over the place.
I get it.
And the sad part is, it was a Black Friday thing. It was cheaper than anything small.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm making progress. What I've done in this on right now, I have the whole front end back off of the car.
Yeah.
Just to give you and everybody else an update. I'm marking holes because there's going to be a ton of more holes in this thing. I've got to put holes in the floor supports. I've got to put holes in the firewall, holes in the flanges that hold the aprons to the.
Well, let me ask you. Speaking of the holes, on that hole punch you've got.
Yeah.
What about replacement mandrels for that thing?
They sell, I think there's certain kits out there that you can get different ones.
Okay.
Different sizes if you wanted them. But the one I use is 8 millimeter, 5/16. That's all I need.
Yeah, I don't really see a need for
You don't go smaller.
anything small. Well, you go smaller, you're just going to weld to the sides of the hole. You're not going to get to the bottom.
Right.
And you
And
go bigger, and you're going to be at the edge of everything.
and
So,
the only time I do smaller is when I don't have edge distance, and I'll drill those. So, like there'll be, I mean, there's already holes here that I punched on this, but down in the framer, I've got markings everywhere. Because somebody asked me the other day, no, that was not marked yet, but somebody asked me the other day, hey, how many welds do you put in a floor support? And I said, well, the factory had like
a
10
bunch.
on the side and the bottom and 10. And they were like, oh, I want to do like 3. I'm like, well, you can. I'm not going to stop you. But
I probably put a couple more than the factory did in
Yeah.
some spots on that, but doesn't hurt on that.
no.
It makes sure that if you messed up on this weld and this wasn't as good as it was, the other one's going to make up for it. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Terry says, Robert makes you are sitting in the horseshoe watching the Buckeyes beat Michigan. I guess makes you look like you were sitting in the horseshoe. I don't know. Whoops. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night.
Yeah.
I need to get in the house, get something to eat.
Yep.
But it's been great having you here.
Yep. That's good seeing you again.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get to see each other in person again. So,
Yeah. I told her once everything smooths out here, everything gets relatively stable. As we've been talking about this. I'm going somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know where yet. I'm going somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night. We'll talk
all right.
later.
See you guys later.
Okay. Let me think here. Let's see where we have. Matka says I sell those parts on the truck. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, that'll be it for tonight. It's been a good conversation, as I said early in the broadcast. Be good to each other, right? Take care of each other. It doesn't take much to care for other people, and I can't emphasize it enough. Everybody's struggling with something. We all need to be better as people overall. But that'll be it for tonight, and I want to thank you for being here. I do plan to be back next Monday. Shouldn't be any conflict with that. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.